Welcome to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, the Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society, whose mission is creating unity through music, but as I like to say, making connections through music with the intention of bringing peace. And today I am still in Studio One, the worldwide headquarters of the Planetary Gig Society, and we've all been sort of stuck in wherever we are for the last year practically, it seems, and during this pandemic. It's been quite a crazy time, but I'm very, very fortunate to be able to have a conversation today with a movie producer, director who is over in the Netherlands, not far from Amsterdam. Qiaoli Wang is here with me. Thank you so much for taking the time, Qiaoli.
Hi, thank you, Jeff. I feel honored to be the guest.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored that you've taken the time. So you were introduced to me by my friend Jack Julian. He's also from the Netherlands. I met him at Wooten Woods.
Oh.
And he suggested, he said, you really should to talk about this because she made an amazing movie about Chinese monks. And I said, wow, that's pretty cool. And we can talk about that. I mean, I guess the movie came out, you said, in October last year, 2019, about?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we had a Dutch premiere last year around this time, and it was surprisingly well received. Later on, it was selected by some other festivals in Europe, America, and Asia. So, it's an amazing experience for me. It comes better out than what I expected. Oh. The process has been so hard that finally actually don't dare expect anything, to be honest. But you do see the results, and you do have some, the echoes of hearts.
Yes, and the name is Music Monks.
Yes.
So let me just ask a little bit first, like I normally do. And in your case, it might be a little bit different. If I talk to musicians, I say, well, how did music come into your life? And when did you start playing? And what instruments? Did you have a musical family? That sort of thing. And I'll ask the same thing. Was music in your life growing up? Did you have a musical family? I know you have children. And then leading to the question of how did you get involved with this movie?
I have been living in Holland for 15 years. When I started to make that movie, it was 13 years. It was very long. I had much heimweh. I started to more or less to reconnect with my hometown. And through what? I was surprised that I found out that the music which I heard in my childhood was still in my mind. When I was a child, whenever there was a funeral, and there was always music, very emotional and a little bit joyful. In the countryside, we didn't take death as death, but also it was a celebration of life, whichever there. And we had very, very beautiful music. I always wonder where it was from. So I started to search where the music came from. And very surprisingly, I found out that the music I heard at the time actually was taught by the monks from this temple. And this temple was a very royal temple. and they have their secret manuscripts dated 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, the place I was born was today's New York. It had 1.2 million people. It was a cultural center of the world. And very surprisingly, this temple was even the musical education center of the whole world as well. So musicians from different parts of the world came there, and of course also music monks from all over the country came there. It was one of the most prominent royal temples. So
Where was that again?
in Kaifeng, which was the capital of the Song Dynasty. It's also one of the summit of Chinese civilization, the golden age of Chinese civilization.
I see.
Also, it actually played a role in human civilization, in the history of human civilization.
And that's where you were from?
Yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you heard the music there, but then you've been living in different places and you started hearing the music again, in a sense, or maybe it never left you.
Indeed. But I was very much touched and surprised by the rich history. And today's China is very, very, very different from 20 or 30 years ago, so not mention 1,000 years ago. Many things are just not there anymore, which don't leave any traces. But fortunately, this music is still kept in the monastery. There are still a group of monks work on it. They try to restore the old instruments, try to translate the notes, and work for it every day. Everybody knows about the Gongfu monks. That's very physical. And not many people, even Chinese, they don't know the existence of music monks and the very long tradition of it.
Wow. So were you making films or documentaries or something how did you get this idea that you wanted to do a film about them?
I had been an acclaimed journalist in Shanghai before I moved to Holland. And I also worked for German media, and I worked shortly for Chinese televisions. And I work for cultural programs. So it's not just suddenly something dropped from heaven that I came to this documentary. Yeah, I've been in media for quite long.
I see. And then how did this opportunity come up? What was the idea? Was it your idea? Was it somebody else's idea? And
it was my idea. I was invited to be a director of a national festival, which happened in my hometown, actually. And then I was invited to visit this temple there. I met Master Yuan De, the conductor of this orchestra. So they played several pieces for me. And then he started to cry, and I cried as well. I cried because I heard the sound of our ancestors, and he cried because finally there was somebody crying in front of him and being touched by the music. It was very hard to get recognition. Most of the people think, oh, you're just silly. Why do you do this? It's such, you can't eat music. You can't drink music. You can't get money. Why do you do it? So he was touched and I was touched. So it was the reason why I started this project.
So, wow, that's pretty inspirational that you heard some music from your past, from your life, from your family. You had this opportunity and you decided, well, let's capture this on film, I guess, for other people. Is that what you decided to do?
Yeah, it was a very hard choice, but it was now or never. I mean, at that time, it was not a very smart choice for me. Um, I mean, yeah, it's just a hard topic. It's very hard topic. You need to go through a lot of materials to know even only a little bit of the truth of the history. And also, religion is always a little sensitive topic. Music in China, especially ancient music, I would say it's really a very, very niche group of people would be interested in it. If they know how charming it is, they would love to hear it, but they never get to know it. They never knew it. So when I started it, I didn't realize that it would took me 3 years. From 2 to 3 years, I thought that I could have made it in several months. Then it's done. Then I make peace with myself, and I help Mr. Master Yuande, with his orchestra. But it turned out to be quite hard.
Yeah, quite a project. I mean, and when you say 2 or 3 years, I'm surprised it was that quick in a way. So, yeah, how did you? So, what was sort of the path that you took? You had to talk with him. You had to figure out about what you were going to film. Like, you needed to find the cameramen. You needed to find the sound people. You needed to do all these things, and then put the movie together and get it ready so you could distribute it. I mean, tell us a little bit about that process.
It was very, very hard to make a big project of it. It would be much easier to make a small project of it. For example, if I make it for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 10 minutes. But the more I got to know it, the music itself refused that I would just make it that short. And there was so much in it, in the manuscripts, which had more than 200 songs, which were written in the notes that are almost not possible to understand today. Of course, you understand the notes, you can translate it, but the tempo is not marked. So I realized it's, how to say, it's precious. It's like mine. It's a cultural mine. We ignored it. We don't know it. The whole human, I mean people wherever, we don't know it, but it was connected with just musical history. It's a very special monster of the piece of civilization we lost. I felt that it was not fair to treat it that way. It was planned to be very short. Then I extended it in my mind again and again and again from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. Then in my mind, when I made the first version, it was 120 minutes. Then I cut it to 96 minutes. Then finally 76 minutes. But I feel regret about it. I think it should be 120 as it was. So you could understand what happened. The music itself has a life. It's not that I'm the director and the producer. I could determine how long it should be. There is much life in it, not only in the notes, in the instruments, but also on the bricks. I think you saw maybe a little bit of the film, the old monks on the bricks. It was in 962 probably. I mean, it's 1,000 years ago, but you could still see their lives. They were still playing and drumming, do the fluting. After 1,000 years, they were still there. They survived all the disasters we could imagine. The Yellow River flooding, the war, many, many wars, many, many fires, and the thunder, whatever. So they survived, and we finally see it. I only want to give them 5 minutes. They couldn't accept it. So Actually, I was used by them. I felt I was used by music.
By
If,
music.
yeah, I was used by music just to convey them. On some points, I lost my own will or ego a bit. I just listened to its call. I said, okay, if it has to be, let's do it. If I have to put in my own money, I will do it. If I have to put more time in it, I will do it. So I agreed.
Wow, that's amazing. So this music goes back at least 1,000 years.
Yeah, it's a Song Dynasty. Yeah, it could be much longer as well. Some pieces were from longer, from I think 600 or something, or even further than that.
Yes, and so the monks were still, they were there, and they were had they've been playing this music the whole time,
Uh,
or they went back and they found some things and just sort of brought it back.
in the past, there was no video, there was no audio, so it was always mouth to mouth, hand to hand. It's always taught by heart. So when people who could play the music, when the monks who could play the music die, then it's gone. So, but fortunately, there was always a very, very thin line, was always very thin line there. Yeah, so it survived through cultural revolution, through wherever. But in between, there was indeed for a period, yeah, it faced a great danger of just fading away. The danger is still more or less there. But today we have video and audio. We could say we will keep it. But in the past, it was hard.
So could you tell us a little bit about the actual the movie, the film? I know that you go there and you have video of the monks and they're playing and working on the instruments and coming together. And could you, not to spoil the ending or anything, but could you tell us a little bit about the movie so people who haven't
Yeah,
seen the trailer or
and
anything could know about it?
yeah, and this movie is about a group of monks in Xiangguo Temple, um, and the royal temple of Song Dynasty, as we already went through the history. So now in this very materialistic time, and they still try hard to play the old notes, which could be dated 1,000 years ago. Master, the conductor, the chief conductor, he's getting quite old. He got sick actually as well, so he had to face his own retirement.
Yes.
It was a very hard choice for himself, but even harder for the monastery. They didn't know who will take his position. They couldn't find someone like him. And all the monks, they took him as a brother or as a father. It was a strong brotherhood between the monks. They really love music, as every real musician. They do love music. And also the family ties there bond them together, still bind them together. So with the leaving of retirement of Yuande, there is the danger comes again that this orchestra may not exist anymore. So everybody was in confusion what the future will be. So this film just started from his retirement, his proposal to retire. And then we followed them for the whole year and got this piece of film.
Wow, that's really, really amazing and inspirational, the way that music is sort of called out to you. I mean, that's quite some power, but that you listened, you heard it, and you acted upon it, and made a whole movie that is now, well, the pandemic has been a problem, as we were talking earlier, in terms of getting it in theaters, but it still will come out. And you did produce it, and now you've sort of preserved this music form from 1,000 years ago, and brought more people to know about it. And what will what are your thoughts about what will happen next, or what the movie will be able to do, and what do you think music wants us to do with your beautiful movie?
Um, I don't feel proud. Maybe I still have the frustration that probably I didn't do good enough. Probably I could have done better. I could done it in other way. I could do it longer, whatever. But I do appreciate this process. I was also helped by many others, of course, also artists, also film masters, cinematographer, editors. Of course, everybody need to make a living, so we couldn't ask people just do things because we think there is a mission for us. So it's very, um, yeah, it's a very hard process, I could say. But afterwards, the monks, when they saw the film, they really cried. They said, "Oh, we never know ourselves. We thought, are we a piece of garbage for the society? And nobody looks at us. But now we know we are beautiful. We see our own beauty through the music. We see the beauty of music. We see the beauty in our own heart." So I was happy that the essence of music actually is make people appreciate their own existence. And music is also a process of pilgrim. For myself, also became accidentally a pilgrim in the 2 years. It was like taking away, far away to a holy mountain or somewhere else or wherever. In the process of pilgrim, normally you just focus on praying, not on what you would get from it. But actually we do get a lot, and the orchestra actually is noticed by different people, different organizations. They were, of course, they also work hard by themselves. They had their own connections. So it was invited to Lincoln Center.
Ah, great.
Last year. And also they went to United Nations. They played the music in Lincoln Center, and they were supposed to play in Australia. Master Heng Shuer in America saw this film, so he also helped to arrange. I think that he introduced the music monks in Lincoln Center, and probably he also arranged their trip to Australia. And at the same time, the local government also realized that it's a precious resources. They start to help as well. I think even for the monastery, when they face the choice, well, they still keep the band. So now they decided to keep it.
Wow, that's quite a legacy. I mean, this work that you've done, that
it's with the help of many others.
Yeah, with many others, has. So I assume the orchestra is continuing to play. The monks, it's they found a new leader, I guess, a new band leader, and they're playing now. Yes.
Not yet. They don't have a conductor at this moment. Yeah, but they still practice every day, and more or less they could coordinate with each other. It's hard. You have to be really, really devoted to be willing to live in a monastery, and then to be only with music.
So not one of the orchestra members has not become the conductor yet.
Not yet. I think he has potential, but he still hesitates. He feels it's a too big responsibility.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, this is really inspirational. It definitely shows the power of music, almost the mind of music. Wanted this style and type of music to continue on, and maybe it's a place that we can all go and visit and see the monks play their music in the monastery someday.
Yeah, I think they will be very happy to have more audiences and to show people the beauty of the tradition.
Wow, so that's great. Well, yeah, maybe somebody listening will say, let's do it. Well, I'll go. We'll make a tour or something. We'll go and we'll see them sometime soon, hopefully after this pandemic.
Yeah, sure. If you have the chance, I would say really go.
Yeah, well, let's do that. I just wonder, is there anything else that you'd like to express? I mean, this is a huge project that you took on, a couple years of your life and money and intent and everything, and a lot of people that you had to get organized and do it. But you've spoken so well about it, and it really is very meaningful. So really appreciate it.
I think, like in the film of Forrest Gump, it's another totally different film, but it's true that life is like a box of chocolate, especially when Christmas is coming, but you don't know what is in unless you open it. But there must be a reason that this present is there for you. It's not, the taste is not always what you expect. It's mixed. Maybe some pieces are bitter, some pieces are sweet. Generally, music itself, it has a lot of magic. When we hear music, we can't help dancing or humming. We would listen to the sounds. It has chords in every little notes. So this film opens my ear, more or less, to the sound, which I never noticed before. Also, in the process of making film, for me, it was always about image. But only after this, I realized that the sound is as important as image. Sound, music, and image, they are almost 30%, 30%, and 30%, if you have to put it this way. Mm-hmm. So we could really underestimate how important that they mean to us. And sometimes even we don't know it's still there. In the film, if you only see the pictures without sound, you don't have a sense of reality. But only with sound, without pictures, your mind becomes imaginative. The picture is still there. Like you hear a bombing, you hear the cars, your mind, knows. So for myself, I become more sensitive to it. I also realized that the human civilization, in the process of human civilization, people were brought together, of course, by money, by interest, by goods, by wherever we needed, but also by music. People came together, took their own instruments. So when people came from Iran, from India, from Kazakhstan, they took their music instruments to China as well. When the Chinese went to somewhere else, they took the traditional flute and they took something made with bone or made with bamboo or made with metal, even made with tin, this tin blow, wherever, they started to communicate before they could communicate with language, probably. So music came before different languages. If there is a Babel tower, which stops human from climbing on the top of it and to reach God, the music might be the ladder as well to help us to climb.
Yes.
Yeah. So also in this time, everybody is very busy. And when we are not busy, we are fearful. We have sense of uncertainty. We don't get used to even a little bit of peace. So I think we almost lost the ability to really take care of ourselves. We say we listen to music, but do we really listen? We even don't pay attention to the sound which is around us every day.
Right.
Yeah. This is the film taught me. I don't know how much I could convey this idea out to the audiences. And of course, audiences always have their right to understand movies with their own ways. But so far, we have very, very beautiful feedback, especially when they watch it in the cinema. When the film finishes, they always come to me and tell me how much they are touched and how much they like it. Even technically, might not be perfect, but the contents, the real essence of it, really reaches to their heart. So I do pray that when this pandemic a little bit over, and more people could have chance to look at it, and then and tell me what they think.
Mm-hmm. Well, such beautiful thoughts and such great work that you've done. It's very, as I say, inspirational, and I hope that everybody gets a chance to see this movie. I know I'm going to be looking forward to seeing it when I can. Maybe the whole 120-minute version will come out sometime, but I really, really am curious and really would like to see it, and appreciate you so much taking the time and explaining how this has come about and speaking from your heart about what it means to you and the power of music and everything else. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it, and going to go see that movie whenever it comes out. So Qiaoli Wang, thank you very much, and appreciate it. We'll go see the movie.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for the nice conversation. Thank you for the questions. Also say hi to Jack and hi to all the audiences who hear our program.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. All right, really appreciate it. You've been listening to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society. We talk with musicians and others about the power of music and how we can use music to help create a better world. Please check out our website, www.planetarygigs.org, for information about some of the organizations promoting music and musicians, resources about the power of music, books, movies, articles, including new research on music and the brain. We welcome your support. The Planetary Gig Society is a Section 501c3 charitable organization, and you can donate on the website. You also can receive a free email signature block demonstrating your support for Planetary Gig Society. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Planetary Gigs. And we want to thank fabulous musician and teacher Eric Weinberg of Little Eric Studios for the Planetary Gig Talk music titled Chill Kid, It's Saul. So please check out Planetary Gig Talk on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe and hear all the upcoming episodes. Thanks very much.